I appreciate being here. I'm acknowledging that I'm standing on the traditional territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people, and thank them for allowing me to be here and speak. My name is Judy Hanazawa, and I'm a community activist within the Japanese-Canadian community. I grew up in Strathcona, and so I have my own ties to the area. Actually, my parents sold their house when the city was planning to build a highway into Vancouver back in the 60s, so I suddenly lost my neighborhood home. And I reflect on the fact that prior to my time, there were many Japanese Canadians, of course, who were expelled from the area. I also became a social worker, so I've got many years of experience, over 30 years, of working with marginalized and people who struggle with poverty. I've always known that income assistance rates have been terribly inadequate throughout my whole career. And I know the struggles of parents and mothers who are facing the participation of child protection workers in their lives, because I was one myself. I'm wanting to speak about the issues here which I think have come up many times in these presentations, and that is that there should not be forgetting of what we're dealing with here, which is the humanity of people. And I know that is all too easily done when somehow there is compromise with planning areas for people to live, which must include market housing. Somehow that reference to the humanity of the people seems to be sidelined. The city should listen and work with Jean Swanson. And I know I'm naming Jean, but she has worked tirelessly. Jean Swanson is somebody who I remembered in the School of Social Work as somebody who has worked for decades to speak on behalf of those on fixed income who are struggling, and who has always talked about being anti-poverty, always. And she should be listened to. The fact that she's done this for decades says something here. I mean, what is going on here when Jean says something and is taking the same position decade after decade? I have to say that. I've been listening to the speakers. I've talked about needing to understand the humanity and respect the humanity of people. We've all heard the statistics about the 60-40, about the new definition as possibly adopted by the city regarding the what is called social housing. I think things are very simply said by some people that there is a need to simply look at what is affordable when somebody is poor, when shelter and the human rights of people to have adequate shelter are not being met with the day-to-day lives that they're living. And so that, I think, is one of the bottom line issues here that I know people have said over and over again, and I say it again too. The September 25th, 2013 apology to Japanese Canadians stated that the city would do all it could to ensure such injustices as the 1942 removal of enemy alien Japanese Canadians will not be repeated in future. At the time of the apology, many of our community activists who worked with residents of the downtown Eastside were voicing concern that the apology should have relevance to social issues of the downtown Eastside, where market housing development and revitalization planning was in effect causing displacement. And I share those concerns. I fear that city government partnerships with market-driven developers will allow the market to resolve years of neglect in the area, and that do not respect or consider the rooted humanity of those neighborhoods, and can literally displace a community, as Jean Swanson states. This should not be allowed by a community which tends to protect the human rights of its residents. I support the thinking given already to the City Council regarding the need for a wellness center and the respect for Aboriginal people in the area. I ask that there be consultation with them to see what they would like to have as far as something which is there for the wellness and healing of people. And I also respect the cultural heritage of the area. My heritage is there too. And I believe that an area is enriched when all these considerations are given of people of the past as well as the present. And where do things go from here? I think the plan needs to be established upon the principle of respect and inclusiveness. There is continuing work which needs to be accomplished together between government and community, between all those who call the area home, and with no tolerance for income-based exclusion.
Ms. Hanazawa?
Yes.
You're well over time, but
Okay.
you do have some questions from our mayor.
Yes. Okay, that's fine. I think I said enough. Thank you.